you from a little bit of a different perspective. Today I'm actually sitting on a diving board. I'm going to give a lesson really quick, and then we're going to close in prayer, and then that's going to be it for today. So video series part 2. So today's objective is God has a purpose for our lives. When you first get in the pool, you find yourself faced with a choice. As you stare into the water, pondering the fun you're about to have, you just first decide how you're going to get in. The safe option is to go down to the shallow end and then take it on down the steps. If the water is cold, you can ease in one step at a time, adjusting to the temperature and acclimating your body so that it's not going to freeze and shock you. Of course, the other way to enter the pool is to go to the deep end, throw caution to the wind, and simply dive in. You can go in head first, or you can go in feet first. Diving is much scarier than easing your way in. You don't know if the water's hot or cold, or if it's really cold, you're going to get in for a shock. That said, the shock won't last long. You'll still be having fun in the water, and you'll experience a thrill that's hard to beat in a pool. The diving board is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who will like a thrill, who loves life on the edge, and who are willing to take risks. Today, we're going to see the following that Jesus requires us to take a simple leap of faith. When Jesus began his ministry, he chose certain men to be his disciples, his closest students. These men would ultimately become the leaders of the new church, the church we know as a part of today. But each of these men began their journey with a leap of faith. They had to leave everything behind for the unknown, taking a chance that the man who called them would lead them on a grand adventure. Simon Peter and the others were simple fishermen. Each day they got up, went down to the boats, and worked a hard job trying to catch fish. Then one day, a man named Jesus arrived. After preaching a sermon from their boat, he takes them out and helps them to find a miraculous catch of fish, more than they could ever pull out of the boat. Jesus asked Simon, John, James, and Andrew to take a dive. "Come with me," he said, "and you will be fishers of men." They had just seen a miracle, but they still didn't really know who Jesus was. So even now, they choose to leave their nets and jump in feet first. Simon Peter, James, and John knew what they were getting themselves into. So, God has a plan for each and every one of you. He made his plans for our lives before we were even born, before we were in the womb. God wanted us to spread his love to the world. That means to share the good news of Jesus with others. But it also means we share God's love in other ways. We serve those in need. We befriend those who need a friend. We minister to the poor, the homeless, and anyone in need. Some people are called to high adventure, traveling the world and working on the mission field, but most of us are called to serve right where we are. All of you can serve in God in your schools, on the playground, and on the athletic field. Regardless of where God calls you, he has a plan for you to reach so many people with the love of Jesus. The first step is following his plan begins with a leap of faith. It begins with us throwing caution to the wind, stepping up on the diving board, and jumping in. God doesn't want us to ease in by the steps. He wants us willing hearts to get ready, get wet, and get to work doing his will. Are you ready to take a dive? Have you already taken the dive and discovered what God has in store for you? Diving in may be scary, but it's a risk worth taking and a decision you'll never forget, and one you won't take alone. Jesus is waiting for us to jump in. His arms are open wide, and he's saying to us, "Jump." We've kept you back from taking a dive. So, with that, will you take a dive today?